Hi guys, this is Mr. O'Brien again. Hope you're doing well. I've come up with some new projects for us to try this week. They're all going to involve collage or cutting and gluing, taping, pasting, stapling materials together. I know some of you guys are going to have different materials available. You can use white paper, line paper, construction paper. Think about using recycled materials, cardboard, plastic bottles, straws, toothpicks, whatever you kind of have around the house. I'd also encourage you guys to maybe put a box and set it aside. Go ahead and fill it with let's say empty cereal boxes. Take the bag out, throw that away, keep the cardboard. Keep water bottles, keep plastic containers. Things that you can use as art supplies, since some of you might not have a lot at home. So go ahead and start setting some of that stuff aside so we can start using those materials as we kind of continue over the next couple of weeks. Hope you guys are doing well, and let's get started. Hi guys, this is Mr. O'Brien again. I'm going to come up with a project, something we did earlier in the year with both kinder and first grade, but I thought this was a really fun project. It doesn't take a lot of materials and it lets you guys do something that's three-dimensional. Remember, two-dimensional is something that's flat. You have like circles, squares, rectangles. Three-dimensional is things like cubes or rectangular prisms or spheres, things that come out into our space. So here we have a 3D shape. Here we have another 3D shape. And here we have another 3D shape. We also have, again, 2D shapes, which are, again, circles, squares, rectangles, shapes we know in class. So 3D means they come out into your space. You could probably touch them and pick them up. 2D shapes are things that are flat, like a piece of paper. So what we're going to do is we're going to take something that's 2D, like our paper, and we're going to turn it into something 3D. So what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to take my paper and I'm going to either I can color on it, and I can cut these into strips and do designs on them. And what this is going to do is we're going to take some safety scissors. Probably get your parents to help you, or an older brother or sister, because again, this could be sharp. So I'm going to cut these into some strips. Now, you do not have to have construction paper for this. I do have some construction paper with me. So you can use construction paper, or you can use copy paper, or maybe even lined paper. And we are going to take some of these strips of paper. We're going to fill them with designs and patterns. We know what a pattern is, right? Can y'all tell me an example of a pattern? So things like AB, AB, 1, 2, 1, 2, square circle, square circle. And so I'm going to take some crayons and I'm going to create some patterns on them. And so those patterns could be made up of lines. So I can do a zigzag line, or I can do a diagonal line, or I can do a loop-de-loop kind of line. And then inside those, I can also fill them with shapes. Or numbers, or letters. I can color them in. Remember, try to color things in solid. Doesn't mean you have to stay inside the lines, but I want you to practice trying to color things in where we don't see a lot of white space where you're coloring. I could fill these with X's. And again, I'm just coming up with ideas. You can design them however you want. And I can fill up a bunch of strips of paper. Right now I just did 3. And I'm going to take these, and underneath here I have some construction paper. So if you have construction paper at home, great. If you don't, you don't need it. You can do that. You can do these designs with lined paper as well. But I'm going to use one piece of paper. I'm going to go ahead and pick this blue one because I had to have a couple of pieces of construction paper. I'm going to go and set these to the side. And once I've done these strips of paper, I'm going to attach them to my base. And again, base could be another white piece of paper, piece of lined paper, whatever you want. Now, I don't want these to be flat. I want these to look 3D. So I'm going to bend them, and I'm going to glue them. I can make spirals. Now, a lot of times when we glue stuff, it might not want to stay. It'll want to flop back. So, you may or may not have glue at home. So, your options are, you could use something like, if your parents have a stapler, let your parents do this. I don't want you guys using a stapler unless adult there is supervising. Please, adults or older siblings, help them if they're using something like a stapler if you don't have tape and glue. But I would probably use tape and glue first, and then use stapler as like a final option if you don't have anything else, other way to attach your paper. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our paper. I'm going to go ahead and use tape for this because I figure most people have tape. So I want this to kind of come up at me. So I'm going to take a piece of tape. Now I can either tape directly on the piece and kind of overlap the paper, where I go on over and on top, or I could curl it and put it underneath. For this, I would probably put it on top. And so I can use these and just take a small piece of tape. Don't have to use a lot, just probably enough to either go over each side or at least go on the end. So if you cut a small piece, you could always just go on the end, as long as it's partly on the paper, partly on the piece that you're making. And so it's going to make your paper stand out and make it look like it's coming up like a sculpture. I can also take some of these and I can fold them kind of over, one, over, and kind of keep going back and forth. And I can make them into some sort of zigzag pattern. I can make part of the line go underneath another one. It all depends on what I want to do. I could take one of these pieces of paper and I could put it over this one and then overlap it. And again, use a piece of tape to make it faster. I'm going to use a stapler. And I can have it where it's now attached to the circle and can actually move. That's kind of cool. And so, I can cover these with as many pieces as I want. You can also, as you're working, before you work on the bottom of your paper, you can also add patterns and designs down here. You could draw a scene, a picture of, something outside. You could draw buildings or people. You could do other designs on the bottom and color them in. So you could spend a lot of time on this project. And I think you could make some really neat things. Okay, so go ahead and fill these up, draw on this, take some of your strips, attach them, have them overlap the lines. That means have part of it go over it. And you can attach these and make some pretty interesting pictures. I'll go ahead and include a couple of photos of some ones you guys have made in the past, and I'll put those at the end of the video, so go ahead and check those out. But yeah, so take as many pieces of paper as you want. Add as many designs as you want. Tape them, bend them, curve them. What are they going to do? Can you put them on top of each other? So be creative, have fun, and I look forward to seeing what you guys make.